Here we are again, a type of video I promised myself not to make anymore, talking about MTX. However, I feel like with the current state of the game and everything that's been going on, I kind of have to talk about it. It's what we do on this channel. I give my opinion and you guys tell me how wrong I am, the circle of life kind of thing. In all seriousness though, let's be honest here for a second. RuneScape 3 this year, or even since last year's release of Warcraft, isn't doing so well on the content side of things, and these MTX promos and lack of permanent content are not helping with the perception of the game either. So, is this the end of RuneScape? The inevitable downfall? The final call? Spoiler alert, it's not. But we do have to talk about the future of the game as it stands right now and what we do know about it, as it might not be as grim as social media have you believe, but there are still a lot of concerning subjects that are currently going on. So without further ado, let's talk about it. Oh, and don't forget to like, subscribe, it really helps me out. Let me clarify one thing, as I get a lot of comments about it every single time I make a video on the subject. I mean, please keep commenting, it does really help me out. But I do prefer to not have MTX in RuneScape. Just because I'm a bit more level-headed about the subject does not mean I like it to be a part of this game. To me personally, it just doesn't take away from my personal enjoyment of this game. MTX does not affect the way I play the game in any way, shape or form, or if I'm playing the game at all. I'm playing old school RuneScape right now because I love both games. That game is more my childhood than RuneScape 3, and fun fact, I probably have more hours in old school than I do in RuneScape 3. Obviously not counting my childhood hours on my account, because then obviously RuneScape 3 would win. Because shocker, it's okay to like both games. But yes, in an ideal world, I would also like to see MTX gone, as it obviously is a negative part of the game, mainly the gambling aspect of it, but the reality of it is, however, is that it's here to stay. If RuneScape 3 makes about £140 million in revenue, being close to old school RuneScape with 5 times the amount of players, you'd be stupid as a business to not continue on with it. They will milk it till they can't anymore, and will push the system to its absolute limit, like how they pushed it with Hero Pass last year and crossed the line and had to backtrack. And replacing it is probably not an option either, as they would have done it already, meaning that whatever alternative won't make them more profit, according to their calculations and data, than the current system that is in place. My guess is that they will see how far they can take it and draw a line there, whatever that line might be of course. This will probably be decided by some arbitrary number they probably have of players interacting with MTX, profits and whatnot. What I'm trying to say here is that as long as the number goes up, profit-wise, they don't care about player number go down. To an extent of course, and this is all speaking from the business side of things, because obviously the actual developers do really care about us playing the game, and you should never take your rage out on them, or anyone of that matter, but please, leave them alone, they're just doing their jobs. Speaking of which, Jagex does have a dedicated MTX team, people whose literal job is to make microtransactions for RuneScape. So Mod Ryan or Timbo are not sitting there developing MTX instead of a new boss or skill or whatever else they might be working on. Just thought I'd clarify that, as I see a lot of misconceptions about it. Another misconception, or type of comment I see, is that the owners of Jagex are going to milk the cash cow that is RuneScape 3 dry until it's worthless and dies. This would be extremely stupid to do from a business point of view, as your company's value will decrease by a shit ton if one of your major revenue streams ceases to exist. They benefit way more from RuneScape 3 being alive, as they invested into the game, not because they care, but because they want to make a profit. The few extra millions they make themselves by having more MTX in RuneScape is peanuts to them versus the potential value of selling Jagex on for a bigger profit. And to get that bigger profit, you kind of need RuneScape 3 to be alive. So no, their intention is not to kill RuneScape 3, but to sell the company once the time is right. So how bad is everything that is going on right now then? Well, from my point of view, it's nothing out of the ordinary. I don't think the promo everyone is raving about right now, the Diamond Chest one that is active as of me making this video, is much worse than anything we've had over the last few years. Does it make it any better? No, but we have been at this level, at least in my eyes, of MTX for a while now, and I feel like the outrage of what it is in essence is a bit much. However, the outrage of what it means is something I do agree a lot more with. As I mentioned before, and something that is absolutely no secret to anyone who follows anything even remotely related to RuneScape 3, is that we're starved of new content, and if all you get is, oh, new MTX promo by the way, in every news post with some patch notes that are for sure needed, and something we will touch on in a little bit, people feel a bit done over. We do pay a monthly fee, and whenever you do so for a game, you kind of expect to at least get some actual new permanent content out of it. Sure, there's a lot of content already there. I mean, let's be honest, there's always something to do in RuneScape, but it's kind of expected to at least get some new stuff every month, right? At least I see it that way. Like I said, I don't think the level of MTX has necessarily increased that much, but the difference is that we used to get actual content alongside with it. Bosses, quests, the Fort Thorn3 season, things that are there to stay. Instead, this year we got patches, holiday events and reworks. Sure, they're all nice and needed for the game, but then again, it's also nothing new to explore and experience. You're not telling your friend who quit RuneScape after getting 99 Necromancy for example, who went on to play another game, to come back and play some Rune with you. At least not until after RuneFest, where they are hopefully announcing some actual exciting content. And before you start commenting, Jeff, didn't you see the 1 billion GP treasure hunter thing? This will have a huge effect on the economy. I did, and it's extremely rare. If you go on actual raid, buying bonds and transferring to money will net you so much more than that. Obviously gamblers do be gambling and they'd argue otherwise. So no, it will not really affect the economy. But it's yet again more what we talked about before. It just looks bad. If you talk about how you want to decrease the amount of flat cash that is coming into your game, which Jagex did when they released the GE tax, it's a bit counterintuitive for them to release more flat cash from Treasure Hunter. Sure, it won't have a huge effect on the economy, but it just looks bad once again, just like with their recent Twitter post, which received a community note, a feature on Twitter that allows the community to add information to make people aware of some shady ongoings or untruths. So Jagex did a collab with another company to give out a bundle with a cosmetic, some proteins, rune coins and whatnot. Something quite nice and a decent deal for what it gives you. Of course, if you care about such things, but the outfit was a recolor of a Yak Track cosmetic, and people got angry about them promoting it as a new cosmetic and asking $10 for it. This is something that is actually really common in gaming, recoloring or reusing assets to introduce new cosmetics, but then again, if you aren't releasing any actual content, it once again just looks terrible. Is what they did that bad? No, not at all. It's just very poorly timed. They did the exact same thing with the Necromancy release bundle, which no one batted an eye to because it was released alongside actual content. And that's the crux of this entire situation, the lack of permanent content. The holiday events were really cool, but they are not permanent content. The patches are really nice and neat and probably needed, but they aren't new playable content. The combat rework was definitely needed, but then again, it's something not truly new. And that's where we get to a very, very important crossroads, which is something that I'm worried about a little bit. Jagex talked about laying fundamentals for the future, something we've heard a million times before, but let's take the word for it for the sake of the video and because I genuinely believe that the actual developers truly mean it. What are you going to be doing with these fundamentals, Jagex? Okay, you spend a lot of time on these holiday events. Next year, add a little something to it and don't spend as many resources on it. Okay, you introduced a new system in the community hit list or patches, let's hope it makes future content easier to develop. As transitional years or periods are not a bad thing and actually quite common in gaming as well, Old School RuneScape did this not long ago and look at the flourishing state the game is in right now. The difference is, however, is that they communicated that they were doing this and what they were doing this for. RuneScape 3 isn't doing that, and that's the issue. We have zero clue on what's going on behind the scenes. For all we know, the current flow of content is the new normal. All we know is that they are going to be changing the way they communicate with us and are going to make it a better and more player-involved way of communication. But it looks a bit bad if you don't communicate with the players at all, doesn't it? Even if you lay out your long-term plan, which I'm hoping they have, it won't make everyone happy as it probably won't equal new content right away. But at least you will create some understanding with your actual players, mainly the hardcore ones, as I think all of you watching would champion them laying fundamentals, both technically as in infrastructure and development tools, as in the way content is designed. As long as they then build on top of that with bigger and better ideas for the future. But that isn't happening right now, at least not to our knowledge. The truth is, RuneScape 3 isn't dying. but the communication around the game right now is really, really poor. Whether that is because of the new people in charge, the hero pass drama and them getting scared of it, or something we simply just don't know. It just kind of sucks right now, and I hope it gets better. Until then, I'll still be making videos on the content we will get, alongside Brighter Shores videos and second channel videos. It is what it is, and let's hope it just gets better. Thanks for watching.